Today's topic is morning routines. I'm going to be talking about the routine called the 20-20-20 formula from the book The 5 a.m. Club, which I highly recommend for everyone watching. This is a great book by Robin Sharma. This is a great routine, but I will also be expanding it by other things that I think that you should and should not do in the waking hours. Now, I have been doing this routine for about 4 months, and I can say that it is a great routine and it can really boost your morning and start your day off right. Now, let's talk about the formula, the 20-20-20 formula. As you can see, it consists of three parts: move, reflect, and the last one, grow. Now, before I start talking about these different parts of the formula, I would like to clarify that this routine is completely adjustable if you want to do the first part for 40 minutes and not 20 minutes, or you want to add something new in it or remove something from it. You are completely free to do that, but I do recommend keeping the main idea in there. For example, you can already tell move is about exercise. So I do recommend leaving those in there, but you can adjust it however you would like it. The first part of the formula is moving, getting exercise, running, weightlifting, whatever kind of exercise that you like to do. The point is just to get your body in movement. I would recommend doing high intensity training for about 20 to 40 minutes or more if you want, but I think that 50 minutes or 40 minutes maximum is enough of highly intense training. Now, of course, exercise is very beneficial to your overall health and mood by improving cardiovascular health, strengthening muscles and bones, increasing energy levels, reducing stress and anxiety, improving mood and overall mental health, and also improving the quality of your sleep, which is also very important in your overall health and overall mood. I also recommend that you hydrate in these first hour, first couple of minutes. Of course, doing high intensity exercise will make you sweat and lose, take up a lot of energy. So it is very important that you stay hydrated. The second part of the formula is reflection, and by reflection I mean things such as journaling, praying, meditating, planning, or just contemplating about questions, or just thinking in general, cultivating the silence of the early morning. I would highly recommend that you express gratitude in this pocket of time, which I think is one of the keys to overall well being. You always have something to be grateful for. Everything in your life up to this point that has been happening for you. Everything that has happened so far has made you into who you are today. So I think that you should be very grateful for that. Be grateful that you woke up today. Be grateful for your family. Be grateful for your parents, for your loved ones. Be grateful that you have a roof above your head. Be grateful that you're healthy. A lot of people would switch places with you because they are in the hospital, or because they are starving, or because they don't have a home and they sleep on the streets. So you should be really grateful for the things that you have in your life. Now, what I also recommend doing in this bucket is journaling, which deserves a whole video of its own. But briefly talking, just journal about big questions and ask questions to to yourself, to get to know yourself. Write down your thoughts, your plans, or anything like that. What are your goals, your values, what is your mission? And ask all sorts of questions from yourself, like what is your goal financially, what is your goal physically, what is your goal spiritually. Now you can use journaling as a review tool, also reviewing your day, what you did wrong, what you did right. There is also a great question that you can journal about and ask yourself from Jordan B. Peterson, I heard it, and it goes something like, what is one thing that you are doing wrong that you could change and that you would change? And if you meditate on that question for long enough, I'm sure that you will find some sort of answer. The final part of the formula is growing, by which I mean reading books, listening to other books, watching videos such like this one. The point is to learn something new in this part. Now, if you actually want to remember the information that you learn, writing it down not might be actually enough. I think the way that you can actually remember it is by implementing it and actually using that information in your life. For example, when you read something new or watch something or hear a new information and you get an idea about implementing that some way in your life, put down a book, stop the video or whatever you're doing, and actually start doing that thing, or at least write it down or set time away for you to do that thing. But because that is how you're actually going to remember that information and also make it beneficial for yourself. Now, another way of think about another way of thinking about this is when you're taking notes, which I do think is important. I do think that you should take notes, but you could also ask yourself the question, where can I use this information that I just learned in my life? How can I use this information to make my life or the life of others better? And by asking these questions and maybe even writing them down and actually implementing them, you can achieve great results, I guarantee. Now, of course, this is going to be hard in the first weeks, waking up between 5 or 6 a.m., which is the time I think that you should wake up to start this routine. Of course, it's going to be hard, especially if you're not accustomed to waking up in those hours, but it takes sacrifices to change, it takes sacrifices to elevate your life, to create new habits. You have to destroy old ones. What I recommend as a tip for you to do to make it easier is that the moment you wake up, do not think about anything, just get out of bed immediately. And why you should do that is, if you don't do that, then your inner voice, your weaker self is going to start telling you why you should stay in bed, that you shouldn't get up, that is very comfortable here. But you just wake up and get out of bed, and you can avoid that completely. You can also do this by counting to 5, for example. You wake up, you count to 5, and just get out of bed by counting. For example, wake up, 1, 2, both of my legs are out to the leg, I'm sitting on the bed, 3, 4, 5, and I'm standing upright next to my bed, and I'm already awake without thinking anything, without that inner voice intercepting. Now, as another tip, if you have watched Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast, you might actually have heard about this already, but it is very beneficial to get sunlight in your eyes and on your skin in your waking hours. Not to be honest, I don't remember why this is beneficial. It has something to do with setting your inner clock that depicts when you will go to sleep. It has something to do with that. If you want to learn more about this, I highly recommend you to check out the Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast, the Huberman Lab. Also, another thing that I have learned on that podcast is about caffeine and your caffeine intake early in the morning and when you should drink coffee or have your caffeine intake. Now, he said that you should delay your caffeine intake in the morning for about 90 to 120 minutes. But why should you do that? Well, you have these receptors or chemicals or whatever they are called adenosine, and this adenosine regulates how sleepy you are. As the day goes on, the more adenosine builds up in your body, and the more adenosine you have, the more sleepier you feel. Now, when you wake up, there are still some adenosine in your body, wherever in your body, and what caffeine does actually is that it binds to these receptors, it parks in there, and it doesn't allow adenosine to flow through. So it parks it and it stops the adenosine from flowing through. Well, of course, you will feel focused, alert, and all the other effects that come with caffeine. You will feel those in the morning. But the problem is that it's just going to stop the adenosine from releasing in a natural way in the morning. And by uh, around 12 o'clock to 3 p.m., it will start accumulating. In the afternoon, it will start accumulating, and by the time that the effects of caffeine have gone away, all that adenosine that has built up will come all at once, and this will cause the so-called afternoon crash. So, if you want to avoid that afternoon crash, I would highly recommend avoiding caffeine for 90 to 120 minutes after waking. Now, there are some ways actually to decrease your adenosine or make your adenosine levels go lower faster and help adenosine get lower in the morning. And those are exercising, which if you follow this routine you're already doing. Taking a cold shower can also help you in that, which I also highly recommend doing. And also, as I mentioned, I'm not sure about this, but I think getting sunlight or bright lights in the morning is also going to decrease your adenosine. I might be wrong about this, I'm not sure. By following this formula, you can get a great start to your day. If you have any questions regarding this routine or anything about my channel or any questions, please leave a comment. And also check out my other videos if you are interested in this topic of self-improvement and such. Own your morning, elevate your life. Goodbye.